of Columbian College of Arts and Science, also the director of GW Confucius Institute, to the stage.
Good afternoon. I'm Paul Walbeck, Interim Dean of the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences at the George Washington University. I'm also serving as Director of the Confucius Institute. It's my pleasure today to host this event for our friends, our faculty, and our students from the greater DC community, including guests from the Chinese Embassy and the U.S.-China Strong Foundation. I want to thank the amazing Beijing Opera performers who have traveled from different places in the U.S. to gather on the GW campus to share their talents with us this afternoon. It's one of my great pleasures in this job to have the opportunity to enjoy an array of cross-cultural programming presented by the GW Confucius Institute. I'd like to thank the DC Beauty of Beijing Opera for their long-term dedication to promote the Beijing Opera as an art form. I want to give special thanks to Ms. Louisa Huang, the founder and president of the DC Beauty of Beijing Opera, for her organizational effort to make this performance possible. And a special thanks to all the staff and students and ambassadors from the GW Confucius Institute who worked so hard to put this event together. I understand that they've been working on this event for the past year. The GW Confucius Institute is about bringing two cultures together. And events like this remind me of the central role global experience and education plays at GW. I also want to thank the GW Textile Museum for lending us some Chinese imperial period garments for display as part of the joint educational effort. It's through these partnerships and through the joint efforts of the students, faculty, and friends here today that together we continue to offer a celebration of shared vision and values to the GW family and the Washington, D.C. community. This impressive turnout on a rainy afternoon is an indication of our commitment to global studies and the value we, as an academic community, place on cultural exchange. Tomorrow is the Mid-Autumn Festival. This holiday is all about family, friendship, and harmony. And I'm glad that we can have faculty, students, and friends join us at this performance so we can share the joy with all of you. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Dean Wolbeck. Now let's welcome Ms. Louisa Huang, the founder and president of DC Beauty of Beijing Opera Company, to the stage and give a presentation.
Thank you, Paul. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for coming here. 1,000 years ago, in the China's Song Dynasty, Princess Chai fell in love with General Yang, who saved her life in the battlefield. However, because of her gender and because she was a member of the royal family, the princess was culturally prohibited to express the emotion freely and was subjected to an arranged marriage. Nonetheless, just like Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre in the classic English literature, Princess Chai was determined to pursue her own happiness in spite of all the social barriers. She granted her portrait to the general and asked him to present it to the emperor, indicating that the general was chosen as her royal husband. Later, with the help of best scholar of the country and with the princess' own wisdom and persistence, the two lovebirds got happily married in the end. 1,000 years later, a modern Chinese girl realized her dream of being a princess through performing Beijing Opera on the Beijing Opera stage. The Beijing Opera costumes are designed to incorporate cultural elements to the extent possible, so the audience would recognize the character's identity immediately when she appeared on the stage. Look at this picture. The character wears a crown with phoenix figures, which could only be used by high-ranking royal family members, female royal family members. Her dress color is bright yellow and red, indicating her noble status and auspicious feature of the story. Look at her hands. She wears long water sleeves covering her hands, with only her fingertips exposed gracefully like a blooming magnolia, indicating her feminine and noble status. Who is she? This modern Chinese girl is me, Louisa Huang. Do you recognize me? Beijing Opera is the culmination of various theater forms that were prevailing in ancient China in its long history. As a UNESCO-registered intangible cultural heritage of humanity, Beijing Opera came into being in the late 18th century, the same period when the United States of America acquired its independence. When the Emperor Qianlong of the China's Qing dynasty celebrated his 80th birthday, a performing troupe sponsored by Huiban or Anhui merchant in eastern China came to the nation's capital city of Beijing to perform and pay tribute to the emperor. That marked the official recognition of this beautiful art form. And guess what? That was in the same period when General George Washington became the first president of the United States. Given where we're having this performance now, I'm sure you're very familiar with who is General George Washington and you can calculate the age of Beijing Opera. Through innovation and creativity, Beijing Opera became fully developed in the 19th century and became a national treasure. At the beginning, the male performers are the only one who perform all the character types because women, their social and family status was so low. This situation started to change in the beginning of the 20th century. Even then, the male performers continue to be highly popular in the Beijing Opera stage until about 40 to 50 years later. Dr. Meilan Fang, the picture is here, is widely considered as a Beijing Opera icon by professional circles and the generations of audiences. He has successfully portrayed many unforgettable female characters on the Beijing Opera stage, such as this one, the Drunken Beauty, and opened the door for Westerners to appreciate this Oriental art. For example, in the 1930s, Dr. Meilan Fang visited the US and performed in New York City. His performance was such a great success that the performance venue had to be relocated from the 49th Street Theater to a much larger national theater, and his tour was extended from 2 weeks to 5 weeks. Later today, you're going to see a recreation of Drunken Beauty by DCBBO member Xingse Yang, that to prove that the Drunken Beauty itself stands the test of time. Xingse Yang is also a GW alumni, so stay tuned. In the rest of the 20th century, Beijing Opera continued to interact with the Western culture. For example, Bertolt Brecht, the picture here, he was one of the most influential German dramatists in the 20th century. He met Meilan Fang in the 1930s, and then immediately he claimed that Beijing Opera aesthetics as an argument of his own theory and practice of theater, the distancing effect. Indeed, when on stage, Beijing Opera performers, we use our unique techniques or performance convention to address to the audience from time to time, so that you are not completely get lost in the narratives, but become a conscious and critical observer. Another example is Yves Saint Laurent. He was a French designer and fashion icon. He applied the Beijing Opera costume patterns in many of his design work, and particularly in his expos in the 1970s and 80s. So, what has made Beijing Opera so attractive to people from different nationalities? What you are going to see, to hear, and to learn during a typical Beijing Opera performance. Beijing Opera has 4 character types: 生旦净丑, male role, female role, painting face role, and clown role. A performer must acquire 4 basic skills: 唱念做打, singing, recitation, dancing, and combat. Each character type has many subtypes. But as long as you have acquired the performance convention of that sex, you can perform that role regardless of gender or age. Let's look at some pictures. These are some subtypes of the sheng role, the male role. To your left-hand side is xiao sheng, young male role. He is Princess Chai's younger brother. Any guess of the performance age? 20 to 30? 50. In fact, the performer was 68 years old. To your right-hand side is Lao Sheng, adult male role. Of course, the character has long beard to exaggerate. But do you recognize it was performed by a young lady who was in his late 20s? And the middle one is Wu Sheng, martial male role, who has a lot of combat skills. Today, the performer is going to appear on the stage. These are some of the subtypes of the fan role, the female role. To your left-hand side is called Qing Yi. It's elegant female role. It's the a retired general, Mu Guiying, who is hesitating about whether to come back to the battlefield to take the commands or not. To your right-hand side is Wu Dan, martial female role. The warrior Hu Sanniang, who is fully equipped and skillful to come back with any invaders of her hometown. The middle one is Hua Shan, a combination of the elegant female role and martial female role and playful female role. Lady Yu Ji, who danced last for his king, the husband, before a fatal battle. Today you're going to see the highlights of these three shows by Sarah Xie, Mei Wang, and Shi Yingzhang. By the way, Sarah Xie is also a GW alumni. You see, I'm very careful selecting who's going to perform here. And these are the Jing and Chou, painted face role and the clown role. It is the Imperial Guard, one of them, and a funny mayor. And these are the supporting roles. Due to the stage limitation, I didn't bring any supporting roles today. So they help with the transition of the stories and the scenes. Second, the Beijing Opera stage is sparse. Look at this. We usually only have one table, two chairs, and today even we only have one chair. Depending on how a performer interacts with this the object, a table could be a bed and a chair could be a hill. This makes the Beijing Opera's troops highly mobile. We can go anywhere with only very, very little carry on with us. Consistent with the Chinese traditional, other traditional arts and value, Beijing Opera focuses on meaning rather than accuracy. Unlike Stanislavski, the Russian dramatist who is famous for his imitation theory, Beijing Opera focuses on meaning rather than accuracy, does not aim to accurately represent the reality. Many behaviors deal with many performers deal with the behaviors in daily life. However, according to the overriding principle of beauty, such behaviors are stylized on the Beijing Opera stage. For example, riding a horse. You're not going to see a real horse or fake horse on the Beijing Opera stage. Only the horse whips here. We use that to whip and to demonstrate we have a horse and mounted on that. And a girl is about to getting ready to go out of the door. There's not going to be any door. What she would normally do, right? A girl is getting ready, so she's going to check her makeup first. Am I pretty? I'm going to check whether I have a tangle here. Do I need to run another brush? I need to straighten my outfit. I'm going to put on my shoes. Okay, everything's ready. I tell the audience the door is there, so I'm going to go out. But how do I demonstrate the door is here? I put my hand on the door frame, lift my heels. Now I'm outside the door. That's the convention. So this is the convention. Another one is, let's look at this one. This is 1 hour of costumes. Look at this. What's this? Are these cleaning clothes? This is not cleaning clothes. It's called water sleeves. Without modern technology to magnify the character's facial expression on the bigger screen like this, we use the water sleeves to magnify the performance emotion. For example, I'm sad. I'm sad, okay? I'm upset. Okay, so that's help you. And now I'm so happy, I'm joyful. I'm very joyful, okay? So this is one, the costumes. Another attraction, visual attraction of Beijing Opera is, of course, you have noticed, the makeup. For example, this is the painting face. We have about 15 basic designs for the painting face and 1,000 variations. The patterns and the coloring reveal the character's personality to the audience immediately. For example, we have red, which stands for loyalty, and black stands for integrity, and white for treachery. Later today, you're going to see the Monkey King. Monkey King is a combination of many character types in the Beijing Opera, a very special one. It is a combination of the clown role, the painting face role, and also the adult male role and martial role. If you are not familiar with the Monkey King, be ready to be blown away this afternoon. Because it's a character, it's a trickster character in the from the Chinese folklore and the classical literature. And I can say it's a combination of Robin Hood, of Superman, Zorro, and Charlie Chaplin. So it's going to be performed by Master Zhu Chushan and Li Sizhu. Likewise, female roles also spend a lot of time in the makeup room, like what they're doing now. So they paint black lines and the rouge in the eye area, lift their eyebrows like this, and use the hair pad to change the face shape, and also place layers of ornaments. The whole process will take how long? Any guess? 4 hours. Do you know when we are here? I started here at 10 o'clock, so they're still doing the makeup, but it's worth it. So later today, you're going to see Master Qin Xueling's performance of a teenager girl. And this is the fully costumed, but stay tuned for that. So in addition to the visual attraction, Beijing Opera's one of the characteristics is also the hearing part. With only a few singing and music patterns, almost anyone can sing the arias themselves. Of course, the overriding principle is pleasing to the ear. You need to build a character when you are singing. You need to tell a story when you sing. You need to express emotion when you sing. High pitch is a very positive aesthetic value in Beijing Opera. So a singer would pitch the song at the very top of the vocal range. However, according to the overriding principle of beauty, your voice could be high but not sharp, could be low but not weak. In the Western opera, you will see that the singers could be grouped like soprano, alto, and tenor. Beijing Opera singers use both original voices and their falsetto, depending on which roles you are playing. So their octave is really flexible. For example, let's see in a musical, okay, The Sound of Music, Lizzo, the eldest daughter of the Feng Trapp family, her love song would be like this. I am 16, going on 17. I know that I'm naive, right? And in the Beijing Opera, the Princess Chai will express her emotion more indirectly, like this. You see the difference? What she says is, I really want to be a civilian girl. I don't want to be a princess. Third, Beijing Opera tells music stories about ancient China. Its 1,400 pieces of works are mostly adapted from the folklore, from the classic literature, historical events, etc. It promotes the value of love, of faith, loyalty, brave, among all the good things. The audience could be very familiar with the synopsis, like the Monkey King, they're very familiar with what's happening, but they still come back to the theater to appreciate the workmanship, to sing along with the performer, or just to be a critical observer saying, I can do better than you. But let me stop here to recap. The Beijing Opera is a synthesis of singing, dancing, combat, recitation. It's an Oriental theater form that is highly conventional, suggestive, and symbolic. It is the art that we want to keep, a UNESCO-registered intangible cultural heritage of humanity. In the transition to the modern society, this beautiful art form is declining, not only because of the availability of other entertainments, but because of the Beijing Opera's own limitation to depict contemporary lives. For example, nowadays, military action is more computerized by clicking the mouse, right? Than the old time the hero fighting with his enemy, riding a horse with a blade in his hand. So how to design a mouse movement in line with the Beijing Opera's convention is really challenging for us. Still, Beijing Opera is a beauty to behold, and I believe pursuit of beautiful things is human nature, regardless of your ethnic origin and nationality. That's why we, DC Beauty of Beijing Opera, we are here to provide bilingual workshops and performance to audiences, to communities like this, that we can contribute to slow down the decline of this beautiful art. Once again, let me thank the Confucius Institute and Columbia College of the George Washington University for giving us the opportunity, discovering Beijing Opera with so many new friends here today. My sincerest thanks goes to Tao Ran and Molly and Josh, who contacted me and made excellent arrangement to make this happen. Thank you very much. So our demo performance will begin now. I'm going to ask our band to appear on the stage and some help to move this podium away. But I warned you, because at the end of the 6 demos, I'm going to give you a quiz. Okay? If you pass, you can leave for home. Otherwise, you stay here. Thank you. Master Zhao Wenjin, who is helping with the chair, he's the national first-class drum conductor. You want me to show? Traditional Chinese music instruments, string, plucked music, string instrument, plucked music instrument, and percussion.
军仪齐备，
百家报花
在百家百花厅啊！娘娘，面来了。
Thank you. That's the end of the Drunken Beauty. Thanks, Cecilia, Andrew John, and Julia, okay. So I think you have all the program in your hand. Do I need to introduce what this story is about? It's the Drunken Beauty. It's part of the Tang Dynasty story. I need to find the stairs. Okay, I move here. So you'll see that she's very happy. She's on a very joyful way to see the emperor. They had appointment at a pavilion. However, later, because today is not a full play, later he's going to be very, very disappointed because the emperor decided to see another beauty. So she didn't know that yet. This part is the highlight of the entire show. The whole play we're going to be 55 minutes. You don't have time to do that. So we're trying to give you the diversity of plays today. So if you like that, just we have another performance next year. So you're going to stay tuned for that. And all she's talking about is, I'm so pretty, I like the flower, I'm just like the moon. I'm so beautiful, all the geese will fall down from the sky, all the fish is going to swim away from me. And that's the lyrics, and then she used the performance convention to show I'm so pretty, like that. Okay, our next show is going to be a martial play. It's called The Battle at the Hu Village. So different from the civil play, the battle plays focus more on the combat skills. This is about the female warrior Hu Shanliang, who's very furious about a bunch of invaders at the stage, at the door of her village. So what would she do? Normally, a warrior will just grab her weapon and go out of the door and fight with the invader. The Beijing Opera stage, she wants to show how good she's at the combating skills, so she's going to show it to you now. Let's have the second music for the battle of the field, and our performance is ready. 可以了，就放那儿。还是放那里。 from National Academy of the Beijing Opera Performing Arts. She also has the art management master degree from the George Mason University. So we are very lucky to have a performer who is professionally trained and also can speak English and knows how to do the arts management. Another round of applause for Shi Ying. So the next one is going to be the Monkey King. Put it here. This one. At the stage. Usually you're not going to see me to do things here because we have curtains. But now you're going to see this. I think we're going to, yeah, let's put it here. Yeah, put it here. Yes. Yeah. Okay. And this is here. So it's going to be performed by, oh, this is in the back, this one. And this one here. So the plot itself is very simple. The Monkey King had battles here and there, and then because the Chinese people like the figure because it's one of the reasons it has a comedy there. The other is he's never afraid of the authority. He fights with the yes, he's here. Yeah, he fights with the supreme emperor from the heaven. Also fights with the emperor from the hell. He wants to control his own life, and he overcomes all the 81 hardships to become a Buddha. So we love this figure. He has a lot of you see, it happens. So this story.
You're not going to see this usually. It's a treat for you guys. Today I'm going to talk about it.
After the battles here and there, finally comes to the stage, come to the heaven, try to win his luck. And then he was not invited by the Supreme Emperor to a banquet. He was not very happy. So he said, why don't I do something? So he's going to do something with this banquet. And of course, it's going to be found out by the Supreme Emperor. The Supreme Emperor sent the immortal general to fight with that person. Okay, let me check whether they're ready. Are they?
One is a magic wand and turn everything into something. Okay. This one.
Famous playwright and director in China. He served in Shanghai and also in Taiwan and also in Washington and also in New York City. So he also is one of the very few directors who try to bridge the Beijing opera with the Western opera. For example, in the most recent Beijing Opera Artist Festival in New York City, he turn the Gone with the Wind into Beijing Opera. I don't know whether you have got a chance to see that, but this is him. Just like Monkey King wants to do whatever he feels innovative. So let's, without further ado, let's enjoy the show.
在此一时要去，臣族人，但我又要进去。 Very good.哎呀，这许多好东西，我一时焉能取得尽命？哎呀，这，我会有了。待我拔下毫毛，变作佛坑待儿，终将回去，与我那子孙们见识见识。变。哎呦，此火老孙闯的不小，趁此无人，待我。It's coming. me. I'll follow you. No, what? A police officer? Huh? What police officer? Okay. You, this one, not good. I look.
Thank you, Master Yu Shushai and Li Siju. It's really not easy for both of them because all of them, both of them quietly are in their 70s. So, and also Master Zhu Chushan has just finished the medical procedure. So he's in the recovering period. So we really appreciate it. You guys are really lucky because he seldom performed like this. So another round of applause for Master Zhu Chushan. So next I'm going to invite our band back onto the stage to give you another demo of our civil play. And the synopsis is very simple. General Mu Guiying, anyone who does not know General Mu Guiying, hands up. Okay, it's a legendary woman in the China's history. Usually, Chinese people the women are looked down upon. But she made her way to become the general and also become a commander-in-chief. She retired, but the emperor somehow asked her to come out again to take the trip. But she said, shall I do it or not? Shall I do it or not? So she used the Beijing Opera's Performance Convention to elaborate the thinking process. Watch her water sleeves. She's thinking, she's indoors, she's inside her house, she's thinking, am I ready? Shall I go out? Do I have AIDS for me? Am I, young enough or brave or strength enough to do this work again? So that's all about this 8 minutes area and also acrobatic skills. Just 1 second, I think this is here.
I'm really laughing because usually you're not going to see I adjust all the parts.
But because of the stage limitation, she couldn't do that, so she needs to come back to the stage again. So she's, this thing really demonstrates how we use the water sleeves to think about, the whole process. Do you know what she's doing on the stage? You don't know? Okay. She's thinking about whether it's good or not to go out. She said she thinks whether it is ready. When she pointed to the left, to the right, do I still have my aid with me? Can I use my blade again? When I'm traveling along distance on the stage, going the round circles, am I ready to go back to the battlefield? So she's thinking about that. But finally, she thinks I'm ready. So she takes the command, the seal back and say, I'm ready, and let me go. And then it's accompanied by the drum. Let me take this opportunity to introduce our band to you. In Beijing Opera, we see the orchestra hold up the half the sky, and this is it. Because, they never sit in the pit, they sit here. Let me introduce Master Zhao Wanjing. He's the drum. He's the national first-class musician, so we're very lucky to have him here. But I don't need to pay for his air ticket. Very good. So the Beijing Opera's band is usually very different from the Western opera. You see, in the Western opera, you're going to see a very big band like that, and you're going to have the conductor standing here, facing the orchestra member. But here in the Beijing Opera, Master Zhao Wanjing direct and conduct everything just behind the scene. You'll see him almost invisible, but without him, all the music is gone. So he is really the soul. And then we have the two violinists. First violin, Li Qiulin. He is from New Jersey, and Li Qiulin, he is from Philadelphia. Both of them have been practicing at the Beijing Opera. In the Beijing Opera band for 20 years, so we're really lucky to have them. In the Beijing Opera, the first violinist must be able to adapt to the spontaneous improvisation of the performer. So it's really without any further warning. So when the performer is standing on the stage, they have to watch very carefully what the performer is going to do, and then adjust the tempo and the music patterns spontaneously. It's really not easy. Li Tingting, our local professional moon guitar player, and she's a mother of two babies, but she's still looking very young, very professional. We're really lucky to have her here. And we also have our three friends from New York City. This is really a combination of a U.S. East troop. Ma Bin with the big gong, right? Yeah. And He Shengchao is the small, it's the symbol, right? Yes. He Shengchao is the symbol. And Kezi, her nickname is Kezi, but it's Li Zexin. She is the small gong. Two female members from an orchestra, but Li Zexin is also an adult male performer, You wouldn't see that very often. So, without further ado, let's have the next piece, Farewell, My Lady. We're going to have the live band here, and when we have setting up the equipment, is it ready now? I think it's here. Yeah, put it here over it. Yeah. No, this is fine. Okay.赵老师可以了。 just try to cheer her husband, the king, up by the sword dancing. But just to, make sure any children here were not scared away, we saved the other part. She suicided herself because she loved her husband so much, really want to free him up from worrying about her in the battle, in the final battle. So we have also this guzheng, we call the old harp in the Chinese traditional music, and that music is in fact part of the music is from this Chu and Han battle, the final Chu troops and Han troops battle. It's called Shimian Maifu. Of course, within a combination of Yuzhou Changwan, the music itself is adapted from this story. So we are really lucky today. Now we're going to have the last performance, going to be a play by Master Qin Xueling. She is a national Plum Blossom winner, which is the highest prize of the opera practitioners in China. She's not only the top-notch artist in the Beijing opera world, but also an educator here. She taught a lot of students to perform Beijing opera, including myself. So we're really grateful for her contribution. So just in order to inherit her kind of education spirit, I'm going to ask you to watch her performance very carefully. And then afterwards, I'm going to ask you what she's doing on the stage. This is going to be, but I'll give you a hint, it's going to be Hua Dan role, the playful female role. She used more dance acting than singing, but there's going to be a singing, but she's going to show that she's doing some work in the front yard. Enjoy the show. Master 金水平。I must say your audience, you are too shy because you are not used to Oriental opera. In the Oriental opera, you are allowed to shout, "Ha!" It's very good, wonderful, and applause during the period, not a problem. You don't need to save your applause at the very end. Okay. So I was advised by the stage supervisor that we are 15 minutes behind the schedule. So I'm going to wrap up very quickly. First, 2 questions. How old is Master Qin Xueling? 55, another guess? 63, okay? Okay, so I'm going to keep the secret because it's not polite to ask about the female's age. Second is what she's doing just now on the stage. Just name 3 things. Taking care of chickens, yes. Huh? I'm sorry? Doing needlework, great. How about that thing? Cleaning the house, very good. Okay, wonderful. So you can all leave, but wait a minute, because we still have a little bonus for you, because you're all very nice. I'm going to ask about 4 to 8 audience come to the stage to try our costumes. Let me ask Sarah, Xie, and Shi Yingzhang to come to the stage. And so some of us can try our horse whip to show how you whip a horse on the stage. And some of us, we can try use our art costumes, use the water sleeves. Where are the students? No one wants to come? Okay, let's, 1 person? Okay, none.
I'm going to spend 5 minutes for you. What's this color? Anyone who wants the horse we follow suit?
Don't you face, yes, let's take this part. So she is going to show how to use horse whips. And Sarah, who is a GW alumni, going to show how to use we don't have any more, so you may want to just next time, okay? That's the way you can work on it. Great, thank you. And
Okay,
what is
your
this?
left.
What is this? Come over here. You don't.
Here,
maybe
your right. You can go here. Right.
Oh,
Yes.
After the audience, you can have the whip.
Okay, so can you just? Yes, very good.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, very good.
Who has ever? We have 1 spare horse whip.
Let's just go to like 1 row. Yeah, 1 row. I think you can finger so that different color can alternate. Yes. Yeah. So the water sleeve is really just like a kind of exaggerating of the Beijing opera action. Relax. Right. So it's like make your yes. Okay. The next action I will teach you how to write what I have here. Just like this way and fold. Yes. The right hand, this one, this and your left hand. Over here. Yes. Okay. 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 All right. Okay. So this is
Okay. So everyone do a pose here. Let's see how good you're learning.
All right, so they need to do the pose.
Yeah, let's do the pose.
Okay.
Okay, you
First,
follow.
first follow me. The pose.
You face, you face.
Yes. Down.
Very good.
Yeah.
Up. And this up.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, this is
The
one of
next
the poses I
section
had in
is
online.
Face the
forward.
audience. Then take a picture.
And
Yes.
is
Yeah.
how to get
Yes.
over this
Just
way
do that.
or
Yes. Yes. Let's take a picture.
one,
Come to the front. Yeah.
two. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Three.
Got it? You got it? Very good. Okay.
All right. So,
Okay.
so the next one is like let's
Okay, very good. We have one
Okay,
more.
so
Okay.
first follow me.
那个小贤
One
往后退一下，把这个离开太远了。
Two.
To do this.
So
Far
Two.
away. Okay.
Okay.
So first three this way, then
Four.
then yeah, make it your
Fine.
hand out.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And then turn. Do this and turn.
a round of applause for our audience.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Okay. The final pose for the water sleeves. 谢谢，你就把东西放那。
Okay. Got it? Okay, so last one.
Last one.
Last one. Yeah. Good. Got it? Okay. Okay, so first of all, this way and up. And this hand and left hand and yeah, the right hand and the back. Very beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Now, this is the end. Yeah, so Sarah reminds me because she has a learning spirit. If anyone wants to learn pigeon opera, just contact me. Okay. So this is the end of the show. I'm going to welcome all the performers back to the stage. Let's report to the curtain. Let's move to the curtain. Okay, now, welcome, everyone. We're at the battle at the field. Our lady Yu Ji, Yu Wang. Our River Zhang, the harp player. Our maid, Winnie Chen, and Julia Chen, and our gentle beauty, our funky monkey king, master, and also the immortal general, the owner, and master Qin Xuelin. We need master Qin Xuelin. Where's master Qin Xuelin? Qin 老师 where are you? 秦雪莲，master 秦雪莲，金老师。哎，乐队的人谢幕了。啊，乐队的人谢幕了。乐队到谢幕了，乐队谢幕了。Just 1 second, because the assistant professor is going to make a closing remark.
Hi, my name is Liana Chen, and I am Assistant Professor of Chinese Language and Literature here at GW. We are very fortunate today to have enjoyed this extremely rich visual and oral feast. You may not know, but exactly 100 years ago, in 1918, Mei Lanfang, the legendary Beijing Opera female impersonator, was given the title of King of Actors, 灵界大王. And that marks the beginning of 2 decades, during which Beijing Opera would be actively promoted by intellectuals, enthusiasts, as well as Beijing Opera practitioners, and eventually gain its international reputation. And as Louisa Huang mentioned in her wonderful introduction, Beijing Opera in the 21st century may indeed encounter all kinds of challenges. However, I believe with the creative energy and the dedication such as the kind that we saw today, thanks to DC Beauty of Beijing Opera, this forever young operatic genre will continue to thrive for many, many more decades. On behalf of the Confucius Institute and Columbian College of Arts and Science, I would like to thank DC Beauty of Beijing Opera and especially Louisa Huang for your wonderful presentation. It's really informative and really first-class performance. Thank you all for coming, and we wish you a happy Mid-Autumn Festival. 中秋节快乐！